On the day I received my degree, my mother sent a text. "We're not attending. You understand why." An hour later, my sister shared a photo on social media showing them on a road trip wearing coordinated shirts holding signs that read, "Proud of our star student, her son." I replied with a single word, "Understood." That night, I logged into the financial account I'd created and suspended their access to the education fund I'd been supporting. Days later, my father texted, "Why are you acting this way?" My response was brief. "I earned my degree." Then I silenced my notifications. It was meant to be the most significant day of my life. After 6 years of juggling full-time work, late-night classes, and giving up weekends and holidays for studying instead of socializing, I had finally graduated. Not just from university, but from the version of myself who once believed I'd never succeed. I was the first in our family to earn a college degree. I'd scrimped and saved, applied for every scholarship I could find, because my future depended on it. And now, with the July sun shining brightly, my cap and gown perfectly pressed, I was ready to cross that stage. Then came my mom's message. "We're not attending. You understand why? No asterisk congratulations. No, we're proud of you." Just that stark, cutting sentence like a punch to the gut. I stared at it, my pulse pounding, trying to process it. But I knew the reason. This day wasn't about their favorite child. It wasn't about my sister's son. It wasn't about their carefully curated family image. It was about me. The one who paid their bills, kept their electricity on during tough times, and quietly built a better life without anyone rooting for me. An hour later, my phone pinged again. Instagram, my sister. A picture of them on a road trip. Matching shirts, balloons, handmade signs, "Proud of our star student, her son," celebrating his middle school certificate, a party, a cake. Their smiles so wide it turned my stomach. I stared at the image, then sent one word back. "Understood." That evening, I accessed the account I'd set up 5 years ago, the education fund I'd poured money into out of guilt, duty, and a faint hope that one day they'd acknowledge me. I adjusted the tuition payments, froze their access. 4 days later, a text from Dad. "Why are you acting this way?" I didn't justify myself. I didn't argue. I simply wrote back, "I earned my degree." Then I muted my notifications. Here's the irony. I paid for my cousin's first semester at community college. She dropped out halfway through and never thanked me. I co-signed a car loan for my uncle after his divorce wrecked his credit. He's still driving that car, never made a single payment. But the real kicker? I created an education fund, a trust for my nephew. Not even my own child. My sister's son. Every month I contributed, thinking at least one person in this family will have a better start. At least someone will get the chance I didn't. That was the biggest illusion of all. While I was building a future for them, they were cutting me out of their present. Let me backtrack. I grew up unseen. Not in a tragic, abandoned way, but in the scapegoat who still pays for everything way. My sister, let's call her Emma, was always the shining light in our parents' world. She could flunk classes, wreck Dad's car, or take $200 from Mom's wallet and still be their asterisk sparkling gem under stress. I earned perfect grades. Don't show off. Worked 2 jobs at 17 to help with bills. That's what family does. I remember one Christmas when Emma arrived late, intoxicated, with a guy who openly flirted with Mom. Everyone laughed it off. When I said I had to leave early for my restaurant shift, Mom said, "Oh, come on, it's not like you're curing cancer." That was the ongoing joke in our house, that I wasn't truly successful. Because I didn't wear a tie. Because I didn't have a fancy office. Because I repaired HVAC systems, stocked shelves, and took evening classes while my sister played social media star with unpaid internships. But I still covered the mortgage the year Dad was unemployed. Still sent $700 when Mom's insurance lapsed, and she couldn't be bothered with forms. Still sent money every month for Emma's emergencies and her kid, even though she always found cash for weekly salon visits and matching family outfits for her posts. And I never complained. Not when they forgot my birthday 3 years in a row. Not when they accidentally excluded me from the family group chat. Not even when Emma's son, the one I was funding, called me asterisk dull asterisk at Thanksgiving, and Mom nodded in agreement. But graduation day, that was the breaking point. That was when I realized I wasn't family. I was more like a resource than a person. I'd woken up early, bought a suit, ironed my shirt meticulously, rehearsed my walk across the stage like it mattered, because it did. It was everything. When I read Mom's text, something inside me shattered. And when I saw that photo, my family on a road trip celebrating him asterisk, that fracture turned into something else. Fury, not loud, not volatile, the quiet kind. The kind that makes you focus on numbers, not emotions. So I logged into the fund portal, froze it, secured it, notified the bank they'd have enough for a few more weeks. Tuition was covered, but after that, nothing. No more contributions, no more support. No more me funding their lives while they treated me like an unpaid assistant. I expected silence. What I got was a flood. Messages from Dad, all caps. This isn't right. Your nephew is in school. Don't punish him for our disagreements. Disagreements? There were no disagreements. There was betrayal. I'd been loyal beyond reason. And they'd used that loyalty like a tool. Here's the best part. Emma called 2 days after I locked the account. No remorse, no apology, just asterisk, hey, something's wrong with the tuition fund. Can you sort it out? Tyler needs his textbook money this week. Her tone, so nonchalant, like we were discussing a streaming service login. I said, nope, nothing's wrong. You sure? Asterisk, she pressed, sounding irritated. Because I got a notice. I know, I replied. I sent it. Long pause. What do you mean you sent it? I mean I locked it. You're cut off, the silence on the line, satisfying, then the outburst. Are you serious? Tyler's just a kid. So was I when I paid your rent. You can't do this. He's your family. No, I said. He's your family. You all made that clear. For days after graduation, Dad kept calling. I was in line at a store holding a shower curtain and instant noodles. Finally setting up the small apartment I could now afford without funneling my paycheck into my family's endless needs. My phone buzzed. Dad. I considered ignoring it. But curiosity won. Hello, why are you acting this way? No greeting, no asterisk, how was your graduation? Just that. Yelled through the phone like I'd committed a grave sin. I kept my voice steady. I earned my degree. What? You heard me. You're punishing everyone because we couldn't come to your little my what? I cut in. Loud enough that the person behind me glanced over. My little graduation. You mean the day I worked 6 years for while covering your bills and Emma's kid ahead of my own dreams? That little graduation. Silence. Then a sigh, that patronizing I'm the wise parent asterisk sigh he'd mastered since I was a teenager. Look, I know you're upset. No, I said, stopping him. You don't know, you've never known. You think this is easy for us, asterisk, he snapped. You think we like asking for help? I think you like not paying for anything. Don't be dramatic. I almost laughed. Dramatic after everything? You all ditched me for a trip to celebrate someone else's milestone, asterisk with my money. And now you're upset because the cash flow stopped. Spare me, don't drag your nephew into this, he barked. He didn't do anything. No, I said, he just benefited while you all acted like I didn't exist. Dad went quiet. Then, as if it explained everything, he said, we didn't think it would matter to you. That hit like a punch to the chest. They didn't think it would matter, like I was incapable of wanting love, recognition, or basic respect. I hung up mid-sentence, didn't even say goodbye, just slipped the phone into my pocket and left the store empty-handed, because I needed both hands to keep from breaking something. That night, Emma showed up. No heads up, no call. Just asterisk bam. Her SUV parked crookedly outside my apartment, hazard lights flashing like a beacon of chaos. She didn't knock, she banged. I opened the door to her mid-tirade. What is wrong with you? I leaned against the frame. Nice to see you too. Tyler can't enroll for fall. He was crying last night. Crying, is that what you wanted? To ruin his future because you're mad we missed your little event. Asterisk, there it was again. Little Emma, I said, I'm only saying this once. You won't manipulate me at my own door. You won't diminish what I've achieved. You won't act like your son's feelings outweigh 6 years of my sacrifice, sleepless nights, and hard work. Why are you acting like this? Asterisk, she snapped. Because I finally see what I am to you. She blinked, arms folded. I'm not your brother, I'm your wallet, and wallets don't feel, they don't hurt. They just give money until they're empty. She was silent now, lips tight. I was at your baby shower, I said, at every birthday, every milestone. I babysat so you could have date nights. I stayed up fixing your budget because you couldn't stop buying candles and decor. Emma looked like she'd bitten into something sour. You let Mom send that text. You knew what it meant. I didn't write it. You posted the photo. She didn't deny it. Just looked away, her face twisted, like the truth was painful to hear. You think you're so perfect now, she said bitterly. Like you've never messed up. I have, I admitted. And my biggest mistake was thinking I owed you all something. She turned and left without another word. Slammed her car door so hard my neighbor glanced out. I didn't react. Let them look. Let the whole world see me reclaim my life. The next morning, the family chat blew up. Family chat 1.0. Mom. This isn't okay. Tyler's just a kid. Dad, we made sacrifices for you too. Don't forget that. Aunt Rachel, can we stop the drama? It's tearing us apart. Emma, you're heartless. You don't deserve what we did for you, what they did for me. I stared at that message like it was written in code. I was about to delete the chat, but then I had a better idea. I screenshotted my graduation photo. Me in my cap and gown, holding my diploma, standing alone by the campus fountain. Then I typed one sentence. Me. I built all this without any of you, and left the chat. I stepped back for my own sanity. Blocking my family wasn't just a gesture, it was survival. I wasn't just removing them from my phone. I was freeing myself from the space they'd occupied in my heart for 3 decades. And when the quiet came, it was overwhelming. And beautiful. No more late-night guilt trips from mom asking for asterisk just one more loan. No more passive-aggressive articles from dad about career paths for asterisk real professionals, as if my work wasn't enough. No more Emma guilt-tripping me about how tough it is being a single mom when your brother suddenly changes. It took less than a week for peace to settle in. For the first time in years, I woke up without anxiety gripping my chest. No emergencies, no chaos, just sunlight through the window and silence, pure, sacred silence. And then came something unexpected, freedom. Without the financial drain of my family, I had money, real, usable, not already owed money. I bought a better mattress, stocked my fridge with actual food, got a gym membership. I even scheduled a therapy session. Something I'd delayed for years because I couldn't afford it. Turns out, when you're not funding your sister's fake crises or your dad's bad investments, you can actually live. When I told my therapist everything, the financial exploitation, the emotional neglect, the birthdays they forgot, she looked at me and said, "You weren't in a family. You were in a system, and you just walked away." That line, I kept repeating it in my mind like a prayer. 3 weeks after graduation, I was embracing my new life. I joined a local trivia group, made a few friends through work, started working out, meal prepping, and doing things I'd always watched others enjoy but never allowed myself. Then one night, an email arrived. Subject, "Your family wants to reconnect." I rolled my eyes, expecting another guilt trip. Another demand, but I opened it. It wasn't from Emma, not mom, not even dad. It was from Tyler, my nephew. The same kid I'd supported through years of tutoring, school trips, and college credits. His message. "Uncle D, I don't know what happened, but mom says you're angry at everyone, and I'm not supposed to contact you. I just wanted to say thank you for everything. You're why I got into school. I hope you're okay." I stared at that screen, stunned. Not because it was manipulative, but because for the first time in years, someone in that family treated me like a person, not a resource. And you know what I did? I didn't reply, not because I didn't care, but because I finally cared about myself. Word must have spread because the next week, Dad showed up at my apartment. I didn't open the door. Just watched through the peephole, seeing this man, this force of disappointment and control, holding a container that looked like lasagna. He knocked. Twice. Then muttered, "You're making a mistake, son." I waited until he left. Only then did I open the door and take the container inside. I let it go. It felt like closure. They kept trying. Emma sent flowers, cheap ones, with a note, "We all mess up. Don't let pride ruin this." Funny how my boundaries were now called pride. Then mom sent a letter, handwritten. Long, messy, half guilt, half manipulation, 1 part heartbreak, 2 parts illusion. Families clash, but they always find their way back. Don't abandon your foundation. Foundation? I was the bedrock. I never responded. It's been 6 months. 6 peaceful, quiet, chaos-free months. I enrolled in my master's program. Fully funded by me, I moved into a larger apartment, one with a study I didn't have to share with remorse. I stopped saying sorry for prioritizing myself, and gradually people noticed. My supervisor remarked that I seemed unburdened, more driven. A colleague asked me out. I agreed. We laughed until 1 a.m. over burritos. I didn't bring up my family once, not because I was concealing them, but because they no longer shape who I am. Last week, I received a message on LinkedIn. Oddly, it was from Emma's ex, Tyler's father. Strange, right? He said he'd heard about what happened, that he was sorry. That he always knew Emma had a knack for destroying connections and pinning the blame on others. Then he said something unforgettable. "Tyler's not like her. He mentions you constantly. He told me he wants to be like you." I sat with that for a long time, because for the first time I realized I might have made an impact, but I didn't need to be drained to do it. I didn't need to exhaust myself to matter. I didn't need to be the family savior. I just needed to be free. I wasn't the failure. I was their safety net. They never thought I'd actually leave. They figured I'd stew, calm down, return, because I always had. I was their go-to in crises, their walking bank account. They were out of options, call him Guy. But this time I didn't just leave. I locked the gate, changed the keys, and paved over the path. I'd spent years supporting them. Now I was learning to move without their weight. It felt odd at first. Like settling into a new home, everything familiar yet different. Lighter, calmer, no phone buzzing with shame, no banking apps flashing red from urgent transfers. My schedule no longer read babysit for Emma, send money to mom, cover rent again. It just said live, so I did. I filled my days with myself. I started my masters, resumed running. Real running, the kind where your chest burns but you feel more alive than ever. I began dating. Someone kind, steady, someone who didn't care about family legacies or tangled pasts. And therapy, life-changing. I shared everything with my therapist. The forgotten birthdays, the family photos I was excluded from, the graduation no one attended, followed by a road trip celebration I funded but wasn't invited to. She said something that struck me like lightning. You were taught that love must be earned. But true love doesn't tally debts or send bills. That day, I cried for the first time in years. Then I went home, looked in the mirror, and whispered, you don't owe them anything. A month later, a package arrived. No sender's address. Inside was a frame, a photo I'd never seen. Me in my graduation gown standing alone by the campus fountain. And on the bottom, Matt handwritten, he did it without them. That shook me. Uncle Ray, the only person who ever spoke the truth. The only one who escaped this toxic family before it consumed him. He hadn't reached out in years, but somehow he knew. That picture now hangs above my desk, prominent, framed, unapologetic. Emma tried again. I was at a bookstore when her name flashed on my screen. I let it ring. Then 2 days later, I bumped into her at a cafe. She looked exhausted, worn down, like someone carrying guilt masked as anger for too long. Tyler was with her. Taller now, quieter, something in his gaze had shifted. Emma said, he still talks about you. I looked at him. He didn't smile, but he didn't look away either. She added, he's starting to see what I never did. I nodded. Good. Dinner asterisk, she asked cautiously, just the three of us. No pressure. I thought of all the nights I'd eaten alone, paying for their meals. And I said softly, maybe someday. But not now. I looked at Tyler, take care of yourself. No one else will. He nodded, slowly. Like he understood more than his youth should allow. Then came Mom. A long letter in neat cursive, pages of it. She wrote about regret, about family misunderstandings, about never intending to hurt me. She didn't apologize for her words. She apologized for how I felt. Typical, I didn't reply. I tossed the letter into the recycling bin. Dad tried next. Showed up at my building with a pie, an actual pie. As if this were a holiday and we'd reconcile like characters in a TV show. I didn't open the door. I watched through the peephole. He stood there for a while, eventually muttered, you're overreacting, and left. And that right there was everything. They didn't miss me. They missed the convenience I provided. But here's the twist they never expected. I'm not your backup battery anymore. I'm not your financial lifeline. I'm not your invisible side character. 6 months later, everything's different. I got a promotion. I moved into a place with natural light, a reading corner, and silence that feels earned, not hollow. I got a dog, named him Ray. After the only family member who showed me kindness without expecting a receipt. I sleep soundly. I laugh louder. I look in the mirror and see someone I respect. And Tyler, he sent me a message. Short, direct, got a job. First paycheck. Thanks for showing me how to do it on my own. No request, no strings, just respect. It was all I ever wanted. This is what they never grasped. I didn't cut them off because I despised them. I did it because I finally valued myself. Because you can't recover in the same place that broke you. Because sometimes, family isn't those who share your blood, it's those who respect your worth. And mine is no longer up for debate. You're not selfish for setting boundaries. You're not cruel for guarding your peace. You're not broken because your family failed to love you right. You're just finally free. And when I raise a glass now, it's not to them. It's to me. To the quiet ones who carried too much. To the ignored who paid the cost. To the helpers who built legacies. To the scapegoats who learned to soar. We're not returning. We graduated.